Welcome to season 2 of Imperfect Together. I am Chris.
I'm Zach.
That is Zach. And man, we do this just because we're a little jacked up and we just want to be real with you.
Hey,
you know?
hey, Chris, let people know what you did this summer.
What I did this summer?
Yeah, what did you do this summer?
What did I do this summer?
Yeah, didn't you?
I went to a camp.
Chris is having another kid.
Definitely not having another
Chris
kid.
is having another kid.
No, we're done.
You got
two is enough. Man, I cannot start over right now.
What do you mean you can't start over?
I could not.
Having
I have a
another
son
kid?
that's 14, a daughter that's 10. If I had to start back over at 0, man, that would be rough.
Okay,
I could not. I don't want to go through the diaper days.
I get that. So you just went to camp this summer? That's all you did?
Camp. I'm trying to think of what I did. I feel like it was so long ago. I don't have a clue what I did this summer.
All right,
What did you do this summer?
I did a lot of things. I went to Texas. I went to Florida.
I did go to Florida.
Spent some time in the beach. Went to Disney World.
What part of Florida?
St. Pete, but I couldn't go to the beach because there was a red tide, and with my lungs all messed up, I couldn't really do that. But I had a good time. Went to Disney World.
Did you work on your suntan?
I got really tan, but now it's kind of fading away.
You went away fast.
Yeah, it did. I was tan, I was really tan for a second there. But yeah, and then that was pretty much it. I had a pretty good summer.
That's good. We went to the Daytona area.
Daytona?
Yeah, so on the other side of Florida.
Oh.
With my family.
Oh. All right. So, second season, we are back because of you. And so you're probably wondering, why are you guys doing a second season? And
why would they wonder that?
I don't know. I thought that they're probably wondering.
First one was so bad that why would they do this again?
Yeah.
So now, first of all, season 2 is gonna be a lot different.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're back because of you guys, and another thing is, we want to talk about stuff that's happening within this world, because this world, it's very messed up. It's confusing. It's frustrating. It's all of that, and I feel like, especially the youth, you guys. I remember a world where, I didn't have social media. I didn't have the news to my fingertips. I remember a world before 9/11, and I think since 9/11 happened, it has been in your face. Either it's politics, either it's terrorism, it's this, it's war, it's all of that. And you kids that have grown up now, and you guys are teenagers now, you guys haven't really experienced a world where that's not the case. And it's probably very confusing, and it's probably, where do I fit in and all this stuff. And hopefully this podcast, we'll be able to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal, last year we kind of, we were coming out of COVID. We didn't really know what was going on. So we made the podcast basically where it went along with what we talked about on Wednesday night. We don't have to do that this year.
Yeah.
So now we're like, okay, what are just things that you have answers or questions to? And how can we help answer those? And listen, we're not going to have all the answers because we don't have this all figured out. But we at least want to have the conversation and at least get you thinking maybe in a different direction.
Yeah.
Even if we're wrong sometimes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, worldly events. We're going to talk about things that are happening in your neck of the woods. We're going to be talking about silly questions that have been asked about Christianity for the longest time. And actually,
for the longest time, or things that you just decided to make up because you would have asked me some stupid questions?
Yep, I actually have a question right here.
For the longest time, for the last 3 hours.
What if Jesus grew up in a different era?
So not born when he was born?
Not born in BC 1. But let's say he was...
Okay, first of all, was it BC 1? When was it? Because that's...
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, AD 1.
No, not even that.
Hold on. So when Jesus was alive, he was still in BC, right? And then when he died, it was then AD.
It was right around that time.
So,
which is kind of cool in itself. Like,
so
I don't know when we started tracking time.
So he died in AD. So he died in BC, but then became AD.
No.
So that means the cross was on New Year's?
What? On New Year's? What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, does that not make sense?
Wasn't the cross around like April? Easter?
Then why are we not celebrating the new year in April?
Because that's not how it works.
How's it not working? It says after. All right.
Actually,
so Jesus died. All right, we're gonna wait 4 months and then we're gonna say after death.
No, it was like, from what I understand, he was really born more like 4 BC, right in that area. It wasn't like Jesus was born right on.
So he died when he was 4.
AD means Anno Domino, not after death.
Oh.
I don't know what Anno Domino means, but
I thought it meant after death.
No. Because you don't have, how do you go in one day from BC to AD?
Easy. He died and then it's like, oh, I guess we're going to start a new year.
Well, then it wouldn't be before Christ.
After death.
Because BC is before Christ, right? Well, no, that may stand for something else too. I don't know.
Before Christ.
Well, he would have been there for 33 years.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? It didn't he wasn't born and died in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no, he was actually born like around 4 BC, somewhere in there. 4, 2, somewhere in there, and then went to like 29, 30 AD.
So
now I don't know.
So when they were 4 years old, they were like, "He's the Christ." So it's
no. I don't. So what I was gonna say is, I don't know when they actually came up with like.
I'm not a theologist.
Well, it has not, really. That's not much with theology. It's when did they come up with like timeline?
Yeah. All right.
And how did it work out that it was like just right at that time period of counting down to now counting back up?
So let's say
I don't remember your rhetorical question now.
Let's say he grew up in a different era. Let's say he grew up in the 20s. How do you think that would turn out?
The 20s, as in like
1920s.
0020.
1920s.
1920s? The Roaring 20s?
The Roaring 20s.
Well, I wasn't alive in the Roaring 20s.
All right. What happens if he was born around World War II? How do you think that would go?
Then he'd have been born in World War II. The problem is,
how do you think he would? Do you think he could stand the 80s?
Could he stand the 80s?
Can he stand the 80s?
Yeah, he had the long hair.
Do you think?
I wonder if Jesus had a mullet.
Do you think he would like Hall & Oates?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you think he would? Yeah.
Sounds
He'd probably make them his disciples.
Would they have a different name?
Yeah, Hall & Oates. Do you think the whole being born in this, do you think he would be born in this era? Do you think we would believe it?
No. Just like they didn't believe it then. So even back then, they didn't believe that he was who he said he was.
Yeah.
Because you still had false, like people who tried to say they were Messiah.
Yeah.
So why would it be any different now? If anything, it's even more skeptical because you would, up to this point, if Jesus never came up to this point, then you would have no reference of that it already happened.
Yeah.
Right? So it'd be the first time.
Do you think, with social media, do you think it would be more of do you think he would have his own Instagram account?
Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because he wasn't really big into big followings.
Yeah.
He was more of a, you know what, I'm going to take 12 guys and I'm just going to teach them and change the world through them. So, I don't know, I'm sure he would.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
he'd just be an influencer.
Yeah, what I think is, I think he was born in the perfect time.
Well, obviously.
I think if it was any sooner, I don't think it could have happened. And if it happened any later, I don't think it would have had that much of an impact. The reasoning why...
Well, listen, I don't know that that's really the why he was born when he was born.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect time.
Oh, I agree. But it really had more to do with fulfilling all the prophecies.
Yeah.
Like, if you read through the Old Testament, there's tons of things, prophecies is the word they use, but basically predictions that were going to happen. You know, and being born in Bethlehem or this or that or that. Like, there was tons of them that that had to be in that specific time period for a lot of those things to come true.
That's true.
I mean, obviously, it was all planned out to begin with.
But like
so
when he was born, he was born with the Augustus tax, which is pretty much a world tax. It was a pretty crappy tax that they that the Roman Empire kind of put on the whole world. There was that.
The whole world?
Yeah. Well,
the whole known world?
The Romans, they like to take control of things. Caesar pizza.
Caesar.
That old Caesar salad. But
salad.
But Jesus was born in a manger not because he was poor, it was because there was a king trying to kill him. So we talk about, oh man, this.
So if he's in a manger, that he's not going to get killed. Is that like the safety? Is that like
no? They
home base.
No, they
you can't get tagged
out.
They
hit him. They put him in.
Okay, I was just curious. You said
put him in it.
You're like he was in a manger, so they couldn't kill him.
Well, they hit him. Joseph and Mary was like, we gotta get out of this town. This is king that has rabies, and he's trying to kill all these babies.
They were going back for a census.
A census.
Yeah, like you go and how many people are here in 2000.
Oh yeah.
2010 and 2020. That's why they were going back. They had to go back to their city where they were from.
Oh, I thought it was because the king was trying to kill him.
Well, that ended up happening too later on, but that's not why they were going back to Bethlehem. They had to go back to Bethlehem because they weren't even there.
Yeah.
But they had. So I mean, really, that's part. That goes back to the prophecy.
Well, didn't like the wise men were like they were going, and then King Herod was like, he was like, hey, I need to get the skinny on these on this Jesus person.
Yeah, so he started hearing stuff, and
then the wise men were like, okay, but then they didn't do it, and then that Herod guy wound up killing the wise men, right?
I don't think so.
I think so. This is the.
I don't think that's how it played out.
One of the wise men definitely died because of Herod.
Did you watch a movie or something?
No, I think it's in Matthew.
I have to look that up.
I think it's in Matthew.
I'm not sure. Now, Herod did want to kill him, but at that time, though, it was like, because he saw Jesus as a threat. Mm-hmm. Because when they thought of the Messiah, it was, oh, this kid's raising up to overthrow the government. Yeah. Not necessarily as savior of the world.
Yeah.
And so at the time, he was like, kill every kid that's 2 and under.
Yeah.
Because they were like, he's sometime in this range is when he came.
But also, so you had that, and then idolatry was also very wild during that time. People were worshiping sons. There was moral corruption. There was hero worship. They worshiped people that weren't even alive. It was kind of all over the place.
Do you know why?
What? Why they were?
Why was there so much idolatry? Or why was there?
I think there
was other gods?
I think they were just confused. With Greece and all that. I think they were just kind of they wanted to hold on to something, and
well, a lot of it was they were trying to understand the world.
Yeah, and so Greece was like that. The Aztecs worshiping. I don't know what they worship. Sun rays.
People come up with all kinds of stuff. It's kind of like.
Hold on. We got a sponsor by sugar-free gummy bears. If you want something not sugar-free,
then don't
try those gummy bears. The #1 laxative of America. All right, you go on.
I feel like gummy bears would be more of a congestive than a laxative.
No. Have you ever had
a
sugar-free gummy bear?
No.
Those are little demons coming out of your butthole.
Okay. I don't eat sugar-free gummy bears, so
don't do it.
Do you know this from experience?
Yeah, I mean sweats.
How did that go?
Oh man, I had. Ooh.
Then why would they sponsor?
Even thinking about it is making me sweat.
Why would you want that to be our sponsor?
Hey,
so you get the poop sweats.
They pay the bills. Yeah, #1 poop sweat.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I forgot what I was saying before that.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of idolatry.
I know what I was going to say.
Oh.
So it was a lot of the reason there were so many different gods and stuff. It came down to like almost like superstitious type things.
Mm-hmm.
So because they didn't understand the world and how it worked, right? Because you got to think, like, we learned a lot in science class that there wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so it would kind of be, because this goes way back before even Jesus came around, but imagine, like, so if you're trying to grow a garden or plant your food or whatever, I mean, obviously that's how they ate, then you would try to understand, okay, it rained and we needed that rain. What happened to make it rain, right? And so you would just make up stuff.
Rain sticks.
Sure, rain sticks, or, oh, on that day, this happened, so we're gonna assume that made the gods happy, and so we're gonna keep doing that. So you came up with all these rituals and things.
We're gonna make a toilet paper roll, and we're gonna put some beads in it and put some toothpicks in it. Come on, rain.
I mean, like, were you doing that when it rained? If so, then maybe that's how rain sticks came about.
Yeah, all that makes sense. But just to kind of, so there was that. It was due for Christ to set things right, I think, through everything. That's what Romans 5:6 says. I'm not going to read it. Just if you want to read it, you can. And then in Psalms 31:5, into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. Which pretty much says in that text is, he knows what's best in every season, or he knew the best season for sending help. So, and that could be through anything that we go through. Like, even though that if I pray for something and I'm not hearing an answer or whatever, like, God knows, when I need help, even though that I may not see it that way.
God always understands the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right. And I think his timing is always perfect. I think it was interesting. So as you read that, that's also what he said right before he died on the cross.
He did, didn't he?
He quoted that. He said, into your hands I commit my spirit.
That is true.
And then he prayed and then he died, is what the Bible says.
Yeah.
I wonder what the correlation is there. I never noticed that until you just said that.
That's interesting. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. When do you think you'll come back? I mean, we kind of live in a crapped up world right now. I mean, a lot of people say, oh man, he's coming. He's coming close. My uncle think he's
Do you remember the Left Behind series?
Yeah, it was a crappy series. It's terrible. I don't even want to talk about that.
My point is, like, listen, there's no telling.
There is
even
no
like
telling.
You even read in the Bible, like they all acted like it was coming back in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So the end is near. Okay, for Jesus, time is irrelevant. So
tomorrow we're getting closer. Tomorrow every day we're getting closer to death every day.
Yeah, so we're getting closer to him coming back every day.
Yeah.
But I don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people try to come up with,
like,
that's like how most of y'all weren't even born yet, but like in 2000, Y2K. I don't know if you remember do you remember Y2K?
2012.
Y2K, when we went 2000.
Yeah, but everyone
when we went
thought
from
the world was gonna end at
1999 to
2012 too,
2000.
because of the Aztec calendar.
Yeah, literally. Well, that was different. I'm talking about Y2K.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Y2. I'm talking about the 2012.
Because the Aztec.
With
I remember that too. Like my point is, we come up with all kinds of reasons why, like, oh, the world's gonna end. We're hitting year 2000.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, what are we gonna do? Makes no sense. I think, listen, when it happens, it happens. The world's only gonna get. Well, I say that. I was gonna say the world's only gonna get worse, but a lot of bad things are gonna happen.
I mean, it gets worse.
But the world is already
sometimes gets better.
Crazy.
But I mean, I feel like we're just going in a downward slope. But I don't know. It can pick back up. I don't know.
Pick back up.
I'm not a socialist, or what is it? A person that studies humans.
Sociologist.
Yeah, is that sure? But what I'm trying to get at is, he knows our struggle, and he knows what we're going through. He knows what each of us can handle. He's not going to leave us astray with something that we can't handle. you know. He's pretty good at that. And I would say find peace in that. That the God of the universe knows you personally, and he's not given up on you. Even though that this world may seem crazy at times, know that he has not given up on you. It may be difficult, but know that God is in control. That's what I had.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Yeah. Even to your question earlier, like God's timing and his, like he sees a bigger picture that we don't see.
Yep.
And so life just sucks sometimes. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it just sucks. Bad things happen. And it has nothing to do with how good you are or how bad you are. I mean, yeah, we can bring consequences on ourselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like God is always with us and walking with us through it. And a lot of times we'd like to look at God as either, we either like to blame him or make him our hero. And I think the reality is that he's just walking through life with us. Yeah. And when things come, he's there to help us through it. Not as a crutch or not as anything like that, but just no different than a friend walking through that with you. And that's something that we can remember is that God doesn't just make everything disappear because you love Jesus, but instead he's like, no, you're going through this and I'm going to walk through this with you and be there for you and give you hope and joy and peace in the midst of this circumstance.
Yeah. And
I think that is when we can learn to live like that, man, that takes a lot of pressure off your life.
Yeah.
It brings a lot more joy and peace and hope. And listen, you don't have to be perfect. That's why this is called Imperfect Together, because nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
We're all going to screw up. We're going to mess up. But if I can remember, okay, God is still with me, and I keep getting back on track and keep, just trying to live my best life, that's really what God's called us to do.
Yeah.
How can I live my best life? So.
Yeah. I think you tied that up in a bow very nicely. Any last words? Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that was it.
All right. Well, guys, this is, do you want to tell them to like and subscribe?
Oh, if you want me to, Zach.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Hey, obviously we want to get this message out and we want you to share it with your friends. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on podcast, subscribe to that. Leave us some feedback on reviews and comments and whatever it is. And, help us get this message out and share it with your friends.